One of the most difficult things that you might face as somebody who has been going through the depths of a spiritual awakening and a Kundalini awakening, and you're highly sensitive, living life in a way that you've never known before, living on eggshells, living without knowing what it is that's going to be presented to you in the very next minute. Life becomes so unpredictable, almost feels like a roller coaster, especially when you find yourself getting embroiled in the mundane, getting drawn into conversations you may not want to have, into getting embroiled in the day-to-day admin of living lives governed by systems, governed basically by others outside of you. You, as somebody who's going through a spiritual awakening, will go through moments of absolute disconnect, or at least you will feel disconnected, or you'll feel frazzled, you'll feel overwhelmed. You sometimes feel like there is something that is missing. I don't quite feel like myself. Now, when you're going through those moments, when you're not feeling quite like yourself, is actually because you're not yourself at that moment. And you're not yourself in those moments usually when the connection to self has dropped. The connection to self is maintained through so many ways, or rather it's always there, but our awareness sometimes drops, or our sensory experience of that connection drops. Now, what I mean by sensory experience is the goosebumps some of you will feel, is that bliss some of you will feel, is that feeling that, wow, I'm connected, I'm everything, right? And that kind of freedom, that free spiritedness you feel, your energy, your buzzing, your aliveness, it's all there. Sometimes when we get stuck back in the 3D reality, in the false persona, or maybe you're not even in the false persona, but there's just too many things going on at the same time where you're having to make headspace, you're having to clear the cobwebs every day. So it isn't something that it's an occasional thing, but every day, because of your heightened sensitivity, you're unable to access other realms, you're unable to access inner wisdom. It takes you a while before any of these epiphanies come to you, when you start to feel receptive and you start to feel clear because of all the other distractions that happen during the day. One of them being social media, one of them being scrolling, one of them being you giving more importance to what other people think, you giving more importance to your beliefs if you still have any beliefs. For you to feel less than or inferior, that means that there is still that level of density inside of you. There is still that part of you that is being drawn back into the human drama, into the drama of the petty self, into the drama of the egoic self that wants to be right, the egoic self that wants to be happy. Because the self is always the self. It doesn't matter. Yes, there are all these experiences that we're having, but some of the experiences that we have are there because of the identification with all that is still known to us, and that we still identify with everything we know of us as us. When we stop identifying with all that we have known so far and we open ourselves, this is where your fluidity and flexibility comes. Now, when all of that comes, your tolerance goes up, your compassion goes up. You don't have a need to be right. You don't have a need to argue. You don't need to prove yourself. You're basically content content. And when you are content, you allow and accept everything else around you as well, without you having to stomp your feet, without you having to put your stamp of approval on something, without you having to feel that, yeah, I buy into this, no, I don't buy into this. You basically have fewer opinions, you have fewer beliefs, and you have fewer moments of that conviction that this is what I really believe in and this is what I feel about something, because that openness is there, that vibrance inside of you is there. And when this happens, conversation flows with other people. You simply feel like you are all that, and that just flows from you, folks. Sending you so much love, authenticity, flexibility, fluidity, wherever you are. Look at things right now and see, how can I make more space for myself? Am I giving myself enough space to be? Am I giving myself enough time to decompress from that feeling of compression that you feel day to day, moment to moment, when you're highly sensitive, taking on more than your nervous system can handle at any given point in time, which is why we go back to meditation, we go back to grounding, we go back to hugging our trees, we go back to love. It was always love. Lots of love. Take care.